Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 19th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day to ya. We're halfway through this week. My day was good. It was a nice steady pace, nothing too crazy. I thought it might be like slow at first, and they kind of dumped a little bit more work on me, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too crazy. We'll say I had a couple of annoying buggies that can sometimes happen when they stack the cardboard poorly, where they just fall over the second you try to pull them out. There's no tape holding them together, and I had like two of those back to back. So I proceeded to get through them, and I was struggling. And I'll give you a little bit of sweet and sour that happened. One of the equipment operators who delivers the buggies, he and I don't talk much, but he's a cool guy. He's got good vibes, got a good aura. He was coming through and was dropping off another one, and I didn't want him to drop it off like right on top of any cardboard where I'm trying to like pick up because it all fell on the floor. And I'm frustrated a bit. I'm just like, hey, leave it. Just leave it. You can go. Like, I got this. I proceed to, keep, trucking along, getting the cardboard, and he hops off and he helps me. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that at the end of it. Like, I that dude's super fucking cool. I don't know his name. I don't think he knows my name, but we're solid. He and I, we good. We vibe. We're locked in together. So that was like the good part of the end of my day. Bad part of the end of my day, as I'm walking out, because I'm like, yeah, we just did that. I'm done with this. I'm not even going to finish the last buggy. I'm leaving. Or I'm going to go to the bathroom, then I'm leaving. Whatever. You know the vibes. One of the same people, like a week or two ago, who was complimenting me on my weight loss, proceeds to like say, "Hey, blah 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 blah," Charlie Brown fucking parent noise, and I'm trying to like make out what they're saying, but I have an earbud in. I'm not really fucking paying attention, and I thought they were saying something about locking in. So I get closer. I say, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?" And they proceed to ask me, Isaiah, are you getting locked up again? And they don't mean going to prison. They mean with my dreadlocks. Newer listeners might not know this, but I had a lock phase. I had 7 years of growth, just about. And, it was fun. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. It was cool. But I got rid of them things. And I've never revisited it. I've never gone back to it. And my rebuttal to her, because, maybe I was coming off a bit rude, but I just found it to be an annoying question. Because last time they saw me, I had a little bit more hair. And I had just shaved my head, like, last week. And I'm like, no, I just cut my hair. So, no, I don't think so. And I just proceeded to walk away. I didn't want to continue the conversation. I wasn't trying to curry favor. Because I find that fucking, it's just annoying. That's annoying to me. Like, hey, could you go back to the hairstyle that I liked? I really would like you to do that. That's what that screams to me. That is the ick. I don't fuck with that. Like, leave me alone. Like, if you want an old hairstyle, you want an old me, get in a fucking time machine and go talk to that Isaiah. Because this Isaiah is a bald head bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Like, sorry, not goodbye. So yeah, it was fine though. It really wasn't any problem. I just didn't feel like entertaining that at the end of my day when I'm already having to deal with like fucking loose cardboard and whatnot. Anyway, I took my stinky ass to the gym, and overall the gym was solid. The shoulder pain kind of peaked towards like middle end of my routine. Plus there was a lot of people that was kind of annoying. So like, sticking on them, getting to like all the machines, I kind of had to wait until I was done with everything else to get like one of them. But really that's just me, complaining. My shoulder, was fine overall. It's moving around okay. We're at the like minor aches and pains phase. We take a little bit of Advil and it tends to go away. So that's solid. That's fine. Not really complaining about that. I got all my sets in, so that was good. So yeah, overall, it was a good day. It was solid. No complaints. We'll say 9 out of 10. I don't know, maybe something like that sounds good. Maybe 8.5, whatever. I don't rate days like that. It was a good day. Anyway, I said good day, sir. No, let me go ahead and do the startup, and we can get into some news. I think someone's car alarm's going off. That's fun. Oh, also, they randomly moved my locker back to the old, pre construction like place, and they didn't tell me that. No one told me. My supervisor didn't tell me. There was no notice. I was just like, I put my stuff in a locker at the top of the day, and then I was like going to lunch to like get my little energy drink and my little chippy, and I'm like, where's my locker? Like what the and I kind of immediately then sussed out that I'm like, well, common sense is going to tell me that it's probably back in the new break room, which that became confusing, right? Because the break room's not fully finished yet. Like technically not all the tile is evened out yet. So I'm like, are they serious right now? Like the tarp is still on this fucking shit, and you want me to like wade through that and get fine, whatever. I don't care. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not paying for another fucking monster right now or Nas. I'm not paying for another Sun Chippy. No, I'm gonna get my shit. I'm gonna get mine. So luckily it was exactly where I thought it would be. So that was good. But just once again, why didn't I get notice? Like they sometimes do be treating me like I'm a little troll person. Like it's kind of fucked up, but like, hey, I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I like being left alone. I like being unbothered. I like people knowing that they kind of need to like be cool with me in order to waddle up on me and talk to me. I kind of prefer that. It's as some people have a good aura, like the equipment guy I mentioned. I want to have actually a little bit of a darker aura, and then maybe you crack that, and it's like, oh, he's actually a nice guy. I'll take that anyway. To the startup. Whew. All right. Our first story comes from the BBC. Protests erupt in Turkey after Erdogan rival arrested. Protests have erupted in Turkey after authorities detained the mayor of Istanbul just days before he was due to be selected as a presidential candidate. Ekrem Imamoglu, that's what we're going to try to pronounce it as, from the Secular Republican People's Party, or the CHP, which I need to add is a Social Democratic Party. I had to look that up. Y'all know how I feel about when you hear a political party, a group, and you go, oh, well, based on this and my layman understanding of things, I'm going to assume that it's this party. And it's the complete opposite. Y'all know I hate that. It doesn't matter what ideology you're about, what you're practicing. Like, man, just make it easy for my dumbass, please. But hey, thank God we have Google. Anyway, is seen as one of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's strongest political rivals. Prosecutors accused him of corruption and aiding a terrorist group, calling him a criminal organization leader suspect. Police detained 100 people, including politicians, journalists, and businessmen, as part of the investigation. And the Istanbul's governor's office has imposed 4 days of restrictions in the city. Imamoglu said online, "The will of the people cannot be silenced." Now, this is not new from Erdogan. We've talked about him, maintaining power in the last election in a way that was, quote unquote, technically on the level. But you could see the fact that literally him and his administration more or less was responsible for such a bad aftermath to the earthquake that took place in Turkey. But he was able to smooth that over. He was able to smooth over all the fucking oppression and all that and beat his, political counterpart, which sadly the name escapes me. And that was considered fine and free and fair. No, there was no problems, even though dude more or less just had that shit on lock. So these tactics are not surprising to me. Also, it seems that they have stripped Imamoglu of his degree, and you need to have a higher education, like that's part of the law, to run. So essentially, he's trying to shoot two kneecaps here on a candidate that is very poised to potentially, take him out, to beat him. Also, it's worth mentioning, too, that technically Erdogan is on his last term. Like, he has to do some political jerry-rigging that we've talked about a little bit with the PKK, essentially, on their stand down or what have you, a thing that he didn't, quote unquote, necessarily, I'm using a lot of air quotes right now, institute, But I mean, he was just very hands off, very indirect about this setup. This is all so that he could potentially smooth things over so that when he goes to make this play for a constitutional change, so that he can extend his reign of power and his quote unquote democracy that's not really feeling very democratic, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be smooth and hunky dory. All you got to do is just get rid of this nerd, Imamoglu or whatever. But obviously, I think this is really fucked up. It definitely goes against the will of the people. It's good to see the people coming out actually, trying to fight this. But I don't know. It seems like this motherfucker always seems to come out on top. I've said this before. As much as I don't like Erdogan, I think he is cunning. I think he has a sense of political savviness in his country and internationally. He's definitely be able to play the role of, yes, I can work with the West, whether they like me or not, and I can work with Russia, whether they fuck with me or not. It doesn't matter. I can play all sides, any sides. He's like a revolver ocelot. If you know, you know. Let's see here. Yeah, Imamoglu's arrest came a day after Istanbul University annulled his degree due to alleged irregularities, a decision which, if upheld, would prevent him from running in political election or in presidential elections. So, I mean, to me, if you ask me, the fix is in. Erdogan really is trying to lock this up so that he can just, I guess, reign above indefinitely, forever and always. Excuse me. But, obviously internationally people are piping up a little bit saying, oh, we don't like that. Ooh, that's icky. But guess what? Once again, they're going to work with Erdogan if he wins. You know what I mean? They're still going to fucking come to the table. What else are they going to do when they need Turkey, right? So it just is what it is, I guess. But once again, I just hate to see it. I hate to see it repeated over and over in just either heavy ways or lighter ways, but still the same outcomes for fucking Erdogan. You know what I mean? Yeah, you really are fighting against a house when you're going against that motherfucker. Anyway, that's where we will leave that for right now. Let's go ahead and take it to Harvard. Once again, though, from the BBC, Harvard offers free tuition to families earning less than $200,000. Harvard University has announced that it is making tuition free for families who earn less than $200,000. I like that they added, since this is the BBC, 154,000. What is it? Pounds? Yeah, it's pounds because they did the Brexit. They're never using a euro. A year. For families earning less than $100,000, Harvard will also cover expenses like housing and health insurance. So, I mean, that's obviously very cool. That's good news. I mean, the price of fucking college is way too goddamn high, especially for these Ivy League schools. Like, you're essentially priced out, from participating in that educational experience because you're too poor. So, I mean, this is at least something, I guess, it's a feather in the cap for that, in that regard. I don't know. The move is aimed at making Harvard more affordable for middle income families, and it comes as the Trump administration targets university funding as a part of a crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The dreaded DEI practices. It's crazy that this has become like the new word. Like, we still I think they still like using woke, of course, but like they also love using DEI too now. Like, it's just so in vogue right now. Anyway, putting Harvard within financial reach for more individuals widens the array of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives that all of our students encounter, fostering their intellectual and personal growth, said Harvard President Alan Garber. The policy, which will begin in 2025 to 2026 academic year, will help make a Harvard college education possible for every admitted student, Garber added. Ivy League schools said the move will allow roughly 86% of U.S. families to qualify for Harvard's financial aid. The median household income in the U.S. was $80,000 in 2023, according to the U.S. Census. So I like that, just to establish like what the line is, and then what essentially those price margins are that allow you to get the free tuition and the insurance and whatnot. It is just a stark divide, and there are a lot of families that aren't even making that. They're struggling as hard as they can to just make ends meet. That's why, once again, like I said, you're priced out of colleges like this. You're lucky if you can get a chance to go to like a community college or a technical school post high school. You know what I'm saying? So you take what you can get, especially in a world post affirmative action, Yeah, like I said, post DEI, whatever. It's at least nice to see these schools make some attempt, quote unquote, better than nothing, better than zero. Though I will say I won't pat them on the back that hard. No, no thanks. I still in some ways feel like college is a scam, but we could go on a whole tangent about that. So you can hit me up in the DMs if you want to yap it up and go back and forth about fucking the worth and merit of college. Anyway, I bumped the mic in my angst, in my anger. Forgive me, mea culpa. The rest of this episode, we got to talk recalls. Couple have just been queued up, so I figured, hey, let's just kind of gather them up and try to get them all in one episode. Anyway, from Eating Well, frozen meals sold at Walmart, Kroger, and more recalled nationwide due to contamination. Nestle USA just announced a recall on 4 types of frozen meals nationwide, according to a press release. This is due to a potential foreign matter contamination. Oh man, and y'all got. I wish y'all could guess. I wish I could give you the pause and you could guess and I could hear what you guys think. And I'm sure maybe because some previous episodes, previous recalls, you might have a substance in mind. It's not quite. It's not quite that element. But the meals being recalled include popular brands Lean Cuisine and Stouffer's. The big heavy hitters. These recalled products were sold at various retailers nationwide, including Giant, Kroger, Walgreens, and Walmart, among others. They were sold between September 2024 and March of 2025. Then they go through the dates and the names of the product. We're just going to go through the names and also the expiration date. But it was Lean Cuisine butternut squash ravioli, Lean Cuisine spinach artichoke ravioli, Lean Cuisine lemon garlic shrimp stir fry, Stouffer's party size chicken lasagna. So, hey, some options there. But anyway, let me fast forward a little bit. No other Lean Cuisine or Stouffer's products are currently impacted by this recall. These frozen meals are being recalled following consumer complaints that they may contain a wood-like material. One choking incident has been connected to this recall per the report. So yeah, it wasn't metal, it wasn't some aluminum, it wasn't some steel, but like wood-like, some wood chips, how is this getting in there? Now, look, this is Nestle. They're pretty fucking low down, scumbag ass fucking company. You can get into a whole, once again, another episode. You can do a whole season on how fucked up Nestle is. I'm not here for that. But yeah, the fact that this has gone on in this, in these products, that's concerning. That's very scary. Good that they got on it and they are, trying to make sure that, it's contained and, people are aware. But yeah, you would think something like this would just be unacceptable. Like that there would be standards that would make sure that we don't have any metal in our food. We don't have any fucking wood in our food. But here we are, sometimes you need that little chunk of taste for your little lemon stir fry. Yummy. Anyway, so yeah, be careful out there. Y'all know what to do if you got, that Lean Cuisine. You throw it out, you take it back to the store, get your little refund, maybe your exchange, whatever, they handle it. Anyway, more of the same, but different food coming right up. The Healthy. 60,000 bags of potato chips have been recalled in 3 states. That's a lot of chips. I'm just going to fast forward a bit here. They do a little bit of I want to say exposition, whatever. I don't really feel like we need to do that. On Wednesday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, updated an existing recall report apparently first issued on February 27th. The recall is for 60,100 bags of Coyote Valley sour cream and onion chips due to the product containing higher sodium amount than stated on the label. So, obviously, once again, you know what to do with these. I will say, though, out of all the recalls I've covered, period, this is the least scary one. Maybe I'm out of line for saying that. Maybe that's out of pocket to say. But, okay, so it's got a little too much sodium. Obviously, good on ya for doing the right thing, of course. Clap it up for that. Cool. Bare minimum. We love when you clock in. But, okay, it's a little extra salt. A guy like me, okay, awesome. But obviously, part of what they were saying up top is like, hey, high blood pressure is a big deal. People are watching and looking out for that kind of thing. You want to be as health conscious as possible. So giving misinformation on your nutrition labels is obviously a bad thing. So good that they are correcting that. I would say personally, I like that because I'm a person now, especially with this whole diet that I'm on. I like to be a little bit more conscious about like just the macros, all that shit, the nutrition. What am I putting in exactly? Now, granted, this is usually only a few numbers. Sodium currently is not one of them. But that being said, I'm definitely a probably prime candidate to have some high ass blood pressure. The way I've been living life. So yeah. Anyway, enough about me. Glad that the chips are being attended to and hopefully handled. And if you got some super salty chips, throw them away if you don't want that, or do your thing, or you know what, you can send them to your boy. Maybe I'll eat a little couple of salty chips. I know. Oh, what about your diet? Oh, fuck that. It's a snacky. It's a snack. Sometimes snackies don't care. They don't count. Maybe sometimes a little handful. Hey, a little nibble. Anyway, okay, no, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's cover another thing. We're going to talk about some pet food, but still, pets matter, recalls matter. So, from the Associated Press, another raw pet food recall is tied to illness and death in cats. A California pet food maker has recalled its raw chicken products after they were linked to bird flu infections in 2 cats and suspected in a third in New York City. The recall is the latest in recent months tied to products potentially contaminated with the virus that has sickened and killed cats in several states after racing through poultry and dairy cattle in the U.S. and causing illnesses in at least 70 people. Yeah, man, bird flu, no joke. And I think obviously when we talk about bird flu, a lot of the focus is, well, us, how's this going to affect us? But part of the bird flu evolving is how it moves from birds to other animals and then jumps from other animals to other animals until eventually the animal that it's landing on is us. And obviously you want to make sure that that is not a frequent happening. But that being said, you want to make sure you protect your little kitties, you know what I mean? Your little tabbies, you gotta make sure they're safe. But yeah, Savage Pet of El Cajon, California. We're going to say Cajon. I've never been. This week recalled one lot of large and small chicken boxes because they may be contaminated with type A H5N1 influenza virus. The boxes are cardboard and contain individual plastic packages of products. The lot code, which we are going to skip, is stand on the products. The pet food was distributed in California, Colorado, New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington State. But yes, I believe, one cat fell ill and died this month after eating Savage Pet products. Final test results are pending, but a preliminary test for H5N1 was non-negative. I love to hear that term, which indicates that a certain amount of the virus was detected, a department spokesperson said. Second cat was diagnosed with H5N1 and died. The test suggested it was infected with a strain related to that found in the recalled Savage Pet food. However, that cat did not eat the food. It was exposed to a third cat that fell ill after eating the food from the implicated lot. That cat survived but was not tested. So damn, just spread it around and then lived, but then killed the other cat. That's sad. So it goes. So yeah, definitely something to be mindful of. You got your little pet, you got the Savage cat food or pet food. Just be mindful of that. And maybe, if, hey, yours matches the lot description, time to throw that shit out. You know what I mean? So yeah, be careful. Anyway, we have one more. Oh my gosh, my neighbors. I never actually know if this picks up or if it's going to pick up bad or not. Anyway, enough about that. We're going to close out with another recall. But yeah, we got to talk about some greens. But anyway, speaking of greens, let me take my last break. All right. Our last story comes from Food and Wine. The FDA is recalling nearly 200,000 cans of green beans sold at Target locations in 21 states. Del Monte Foods Incorporated is recalling close to 200,000 cans of Target's good and gather cut green beans due to potential contamination. On Thursday, March 13th, the Food and Drug Administration published a recall notice that included 197,808 cans of good and gather cut green beans, or 8,242 cases, which had actually been initiated on February 12th. According to the notice, the recall reason is over the potential presence of a foreign object. However, the notice did not detail what the object could be. Fast forwarding a bit, they essentially said it could be include anything from, and this is food safety news, it could be anything from metal or plastic materials. So yummy. And not just like the microplastics, right? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, do you think things will get so dystopian that we have micro metals? Oh, let's hope not. But anyway, knock on some wood. But yeah, needless to say, you don't want the micro or the macro plastics or metals in your body. That's bad. That's no good. It's not worth a fucking can of beans. Is it? No, it's not. That's bad news. Once again, it's crazy to hear things like this can get into our food. And it's like, oops. It's just like, oops. I mean, granted, you can definitely sue, hopefully get your big money. But just fucking crazy, you know? Like, wild, no good. And we're supposed to be, the US of A. We're supposed to be, the cream of the crop, the safest. So everything you put in your body, it's going to be good. It's going to be healthy and fine for you. Just don't worry about the dye or whatever. Or, I guess the metal. Oops. Like, it's just crazy. Anyway, that's where we're living. That's how it is. They do have the stats or the information. By all means, check out Food and Wine if you think you got those green beans. If you're getting those Target green beans, you might be the target of metal or plastic ingestion, consumption. I don't know. Anyway, that is where I want to leave it for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's a free action that helps out the algorithm, helps me potentially get closer to the money. Also, follow on TikTok, or TikTok, as the kids say. Follow on the Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Leave a like. Leave a comment. That's hopefully nice and encouraging, cool. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. Try it out. Maybe it's okay if you don't, but hey, it's an option. Spread the word, the good word. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.